So one of the things to understand about anxiety is that it's going to do everything to try to stay alive. The idea is that if your anxiety stays alive, well, theoretically you would stay alive. At least that's what it worked historically. Now, one of the things anxiety really does is that it actually changes up your symptoms, especially when you're making progress. When you're actually hitting recovery, you'll notice your symptoms may change, and that can create some shock to you. You may be thinking, okay, I was having these symptoms, now it changed. Well, what if it's something else? What I want to talk about in this video is really how anxiety creates symptoms, how it changes, and how to really overcome recovery, because this could be a hurdle for a lot of individuals, and this actually hinders their recovery. But if you understand a few things, you can get out of this. So pay attention. So this is one of the most common issues out there, and it's actually something we even take into account in the mentorship program, where we're guiding people step by step through recovery. We understand that the symptoms are going to change, that actually oftentimes that's a good thing. And so how do you address one thing from another? In fact, a lot of the people that want to work with me, they come in for a certain symptom, and then midway through the program, there's another symptom that they're dealing with. And so I've always found the best way out is by guiding them step by step until they fully recover, where there's no more symptoms. And that's another reason why tips and tricks don't work. Well, if you're focused on a specific tip on a specific symptom, well, what happens when another symptom pops up? And so the idea here is to really focus on principles here, understand anxiety as a whole. And so the idea is that your symptoms will actually change. Anxiety does this for multiple reasons. First of all, when your nervous system is sensitized, you're struggling with anxiety. What that means is that your anxiety is designed to protect you. And so what happens is that it assumes there is, a threat somewhere. Now, what happens with people that are struggling with anxiety or, having the anxiety disorder, their nervous system has kind of forgotten what's a real threat and what's not. So it's responding to everything as a threat. It rather would. It doesn't want to be wrong. So it'd rather be safe than sorry and just assume everything's a threat. What that does, ironically, is that leads to a vicious cycle, meaning your nervous system responds to everything as a threat. You respond in fear because you don't know what's happening. And so what happens is your nervous system becomes sensitized. So as your nervous system becomes sensitized, you start experiencing different symptoms. And it's just an offset of your nervous system being sensitized. So what happens is that once you start focusing on recovery, the idea is to desensitize your nerves. And as you desensitize your nerves, what that does is that your symptoms actually change. They manifest differently. And so what happens is that individuals that, let's say, for me, it was struggling with digestive issues. For you, let's say it's depersonalization, derealization. Well, as the symptoms change, you may notice, as you start desensitizing, you may notice the symptoms start changing. And so, the depersonalization's there, but you're not experiencing palpitations anymore. You're experiencing vision issues. And so it's really hard if you are looking at your anxiety as symptoms. So you may be struggling with, let's say, 20 symptoms. And so what happens if that 20 symptoms turn into 30 symptoms or then 10 symptoms, but then it ends up changing? It gets very complicated. And it's like, how do I deal with all this? Like, all these symptoms are changing. I feel like I have 20 problems. How do I get out of this? And the first thing to really do is throw all your symptoms in the anxiety umbrella. What that means is, moving forward, you only have one problem: anxiety. The symptoms you're feeling are just manifestations of the same problem. So you may be experiencing vision issues, vertigo, digestive issues, nausea, with part of the digestive issues, brain zaps, whatever symptoms you're experiencing. It's very important that you throw all the symptoms under the anxiety umbrella. Now, the good news with this is that if you can do that, well, even if the symptoms change, they're still under the anxiety umbrella. And if you're unsure about, okay, well, how do I know if it's of anxiety issue or if there's something else? Well, as long as you've gotten everything ruled out by your doctor, and if you're really concerned, definitely do that. Like, get everything ruled out by your doctor. You should not be using these videos as a substitute for medical advice. That's not what these videos are for. And if that's what you're using it for, please stop watching these videos, because it's not a substitute. This is, once you've gotten everything ruled out and everything's clear and you're still having these symptoms, but you don't know why. So The key here really is throw all your symptoms under the anxiety umbrella and understand that your symptoms may morph. And just because the symptoms morph, that doesn't mean that your response changes. Anxiety is a game of consistency. What that means is you respond the same to every single symptom. And so if you're really trying to understand what kind of anxiety symptoms or how other people are kind of struggling with their anxiety and how other people are really getting out of their anxiety, what I'll do is I'll put a link down below to my private Facebook group. In this group, I'm actually even posting even more exclusive content that I'm not posting on any other social media platform, I'm not posting on these videos. It goes even deeper. And it actually also has individuals that have fully came out of it and people that are actually making progress. And so this group isn't for everybody. This is really dedicated to people that are focused on overcoming, not just coping, not just managing, people that are serious about coming out. And you can see how their symptoms are kind of changing and how they're staying on course, how to respond to different symptoms, and how to really focus on long-term freedom, not short-term comfort. So hit the link down below. When you hit the link, it's gonna ask you 3 questions. It's very important that you answer these 3 questions to the best of your ability. We want people to join the group. We obviously want people to recover, but we also need to maintain the integrity of the group. If you've gone on forums, you know how toxic it can get, how much fear-mongering there could be. This is not one of those places. This is really a place where you get information and you apply it in your own recovery journey. So if that's you, hit the link down below, fill out those 3 questions, and I'll see you guys inside. Now, the last thing I'll say is, as you understand that these symptoms may morph along recovery, you may also notice that some symptoms stay consistent. Some stay pretty much the same. And these symptoms are just a little bit more stubborn. That's all it is. So you're experiencing, let's say, individuals that really struggle with depersonalization, derealization. I noticed that with them, depersonalization and derealization tend to be one of the last things to go away. And if they're struggling with brain fog, it's one of the last things to go away. Now it does go away, so that's a good thing, but it's just maybe just a little bit more stubborn. Now this is the rule of thumb. This isn't everybody. There's some people where depersonalization, derealization lifts really quickly. So it doesn't matter. The idea is that there will be certain symptoms that will just be a little bit stubborn. For me, digestive issues were there till the end. They didn't go away till literally once I was living my life and the digestive issues were still there in the background, and then it ended up disappearing. So the key here is that some symptoms will remain. That doesn't mean you need to do something different about it. The solution is always the same. Remember, recovery is a game of consistency. It's not about changing things up. Most of the time you'll find people don't recover because they're always changing things up. When anxiety is good, they stick on track. But when anxiety is high and they hit a setback, oh, maybe I'm doing something wrong. Maybe I need to do this. Maybe I need to do that. But they actually end up sabotaging their own recovery. So the key here is really staying consistent on the course. And I have found the best way out, again, is always, always having somebody guide you step by step. Not really trying to figure this out on your own, not trying to understand how all this works, not piecemealing these videos or, going on forums asking for it. The best way is having someone who has gone through recovery take you step by step, himself or herself. And so if that's you, well, why don't I just guide you myself? I will take a look at your situation. I will see exactly where you're struggling. I will personally get you out of this. Not only will I personally get you out of this, I will personally make sure that these symptoms are disappearing. Not just like, I just tell you what to do and then you disappear and I never see you again. I want to see these symptoms work. We field test this more than anybody. These things that I'm telling you, these aren't just theories that I've read in a book. My own lifeline depended on it. The people that I've helped, their lifeline depended on it. If it didn't work for them, we would need to figure out why, what's happening. And so, again, the best way is just by someone guiding you step by step. So if that's you, hit the link down below. This is a link to my mentorship program. This is a program where I'm specifically guiding people step by step. This program isn't for everybody. I like to keep the group small. And it's really because I want to ensure full recovery. So I'd rather work with a small group of individuals, get them to full recovery, rather than get people just a little bit better here and there. So if that's you, hit the link down below. When you hit the link, there's going to be a short video. The video will help you understand a little bit more about how the mentorship works, who this is for, who this is not for. followed by an application. Once you fill out that application, my team and I will review that application. This is a team of individuals that actually also went through anxiety. These are people, a lot of them are actually my former clients that are now recovered, that are now working with me to help you get to recovery. So we know exactly what's going on, and if you are a good fit, we will invite you to the program, and we'll have obviously a strategy session with you that's absolutely free to make sure that you are a good fit and to better understand your biggest struggles and roadblocks. And like I say, this call is absolutely free. We're not charging. This is just to see if you're a good fit, and if you're a good fit, I will personally take you to recovery myself. So the link is down below. I'll see you inside.